Hello, in this video, I'll show you the exact workflow system I built for a realtor that completely transformed her business. Now, if you're a realtor, you can copy and paste the workflow system I created on this video. But if you are an entrepreneur that's service based, you work alone or you have team members and you probably have a lot of calls daily, you need a system to organize your workflow for efficiency in business, to ease the mental workload and stress, also to aid productivity with excellence. You can work with the idea in this video to create yourself a workflow system that works seamlessly for you. So I got a call from a realtor. She's quite established in the field, making decent money in commission every month from selling luxury homes in Abuja, Nigeria. At the time she called me, she had over 20,000 followers on Instagram. She said she receives an average of 3 calls per day from prospects, which means 15 leads per week on average. But she said the problem is that she can only attend to 3, at most 4 of these leads in a week because she could only rely on her phone contact list and her memory to follow up on these deals, which means losing over 80% of her leads to competition. And out of those 3 to 4 that she could attend to, maybe 1 or 2 deals will close. Sometimes none of the deals close. So I created and introduced her to this simple workflow system, easy to use and accessible on her mobile device. In the first week alone, she followed up on all her leads, closed 5 deals and earned over 50 million naira in commission. So this system works. Now, before we go on, you will definitely get value out of this video. So just give this video a thumbs up and then hit the subscribe button so that more of these kinds of valuable videos will come up on your news feed whenever I drop any. Let's move on. Okay, so I'm going to be showing you how to create the Realtor's workflow system that saves deals forever. Completely free, no tech skill needed, and it works for any service-based business. So this is my Google browser. This is my Chrome browser. I use the Trello software to design the workflow system, right? So Trello is a task management software. So let's get right into it. Now, first type in trello.com. That's Trello.com. And then if you do not have an account on Trello, you will need to sign up, right? And then while the account is being set up for you, you will be able to create a workspace. And then when the workspace is set up, you will now be able to follow what I'm about to show you right now. So I'm about to create a board because I already have the workspace. I already have an account. So these are workspaces that are on my account. So I'm going to be using this Realtor's workflow workspace to create the account, right? You can access it both on your laptop and on your mobile device. The mobile device interface might not be like this, but you will get the idea. The first thing you want to do right now is to look for this create button. When you click on the create button, it's going to open, the drop down will come out like so. It says create board. So that's what we want to do. So you either start with a template or you create board. But I want to show you how to create it from scratch. No need to start with a template, right? So down here, we're going to just put a board title so that we can just go right into it. So I'm going to be using transaction pipeline as my board title. Scroll up and you create. It's that easy, right? So when the board opens up for you, you get something like this, right? All right, so straight into it. First, we see add list. This is the only thing we see here. So now this workflow system is made up of lists and cards. The lists will serve as the transaction stages. We're going to start with labeling lists so that you see how it works. So for the realtor, the first stage should be new lead, first stage. You click on enter. Now you see that there is add card under it. So right, so like I said, lists and cards. So let's finish up with the lists. Now the next stage, from when the new lead comes in, you get a call to inquire about your property or your listing. right? That's the first stage. You create a card for the client that just called. The next stage should be qualifying the lead, right? To know that, okay, this person is ready for a transaction, right? So the next stage should be qualified and contacted. Enter. Next stage should be you sending over property pictures, right? The listing. I'm just using generic realtors workflow to show you how it goes. You are the professional, and for other entrepreneurs that maybe you trying to use this idea, you know how your workflow goes, you know the stages of your transaction, how you work with your client. So you just use the lists to replicate your stages. That's what I mean. So let's do this and then be done. Right, so I'm done putting up the stages. I'll just take you through. First, you have the new lead stage. That's for the realtor. And bear in mind, for realtors, I'm typifying a property buying client transaction. You use this idea now to just replicate, create another board for the sellers, and for the rentage and any other kind of transaction you do, right? So this one is an example for buying clients. So first, new lead, the lead comes in, you qualify the leads, and then you move them to qualified and contacted. Then you share the property options, you find out exactly what they need and all of those, right, about the property. You move the client to the this stage, and then from this stage you move to the inspection done, then you move to negotiation stage, right? When you create the card, right, and then begin to move them from stage to stage, you'll understand it better, right? So, but these are the stages, right? Payment stage, documentation stage, deal closed, right, which is buyer served, right? Or the deal was cold, has gone cold, or is lost, or is not proceeding anymore. So let's go back to the new leads. This is where you add a card. Now, what are cards? The cards in this case will serve as clients, as the lists serve as the stages. The cards will serve as the client identifier. Once you get a lead, you create a card, right? So now we're going to be creating a template for creating cards. Let's create a card template so that you see how to create cards and what the cards should look like, right? So I click on that icon at the right bottom. Then you see you don't have any templates. Create a template to make copying cards easy. You see that you can copy the card and then edit the card so that you don't have to create fresh cards every time. That's why we're creating templates. So template title. On the title of any card for realtors, you're supposed to be seeing the lead name, you're supposed to be seeing the property type, the location, and the budget. This is how you identify each card so that once you look at the card, you know what client or which client you are dealing with. So we're going to just put it name slash property type slash location and slash budget, right? So let's add the card so that you see what it looks like. Right, right. So first, this is what the card looks like. Every time you want to create a card for a new lead, you edit the name of the lead, you edit the property type, you edit the location where the person prefers the property to be, and then the budget, so you know what you're working with. Let's open up the card and continue editing the template. This is we're still working with the template. So the next thing you want to do right now is put in some more details in the description section. So in the description section, I would prefer you just put in more details about the lead, something like contact info. Let's say put in the budget again, property type. You know the important information that you would want to have of that client. Take note, the first ones are the ones you use to identify the card, right? Down here, you now put in more details of the client, right? So let's just use this for now and save. Okay, so what we want to do next right now is there are other options you will need to put up on this card, but you're not going to be putting them on the template, right? So this is for realtors. Now, entrepreneurs, professionals, you can use this idea to just know the important things that you need to see first, right? So that you don't stress your mind when you're creating a card for a client. Other things can come in later on, right? So the next thing you want to put up are checklists, right? So checklists, the way checklists work, we have checklist headers, right? These checklist headers right now are going to correspond with the lists, these lists, right? So that when you click on the checklists, you move the card from where it is to the stage that you have checked. So let me show you what I mean. Now remember, we have a stage for qualified leads, qualified and contacted. So we're going to make a checklist title called lead qualification, lead qualification checklist, right? We'll add. Now that header is there, right? I can now begin to add the checklists under this header, right? Checklists like, okay, I've made contact, the requirements have been discussed, we have clarified the timeline and all that, right? So let me quickly do that. So add items under this, the lead qualification checklist title. The first tasks that we will need to check under this checklist stage should be that you've made contact, enter. Have in mind that you are the one making your checklist based on how your transaction flows, right? So this is just a generic workflow for a realtor. Next item, requirement discussed, right? Enter. And so on and so on. You just keep going like that. So that's for the first checklist header, right? So we'll go back and add all the checklist headers. Let's add all the checklist headers that will correspond with the list stage, the transaction stages that we have created. After qualifying your leads, the next stage on our checklist is, the next stage on our transaction pipeline is option shared, right? So on the card, we're going to create a checklist header that says, say, property sharing, right? Remember, the card is not going to be on the stage when you are checking the list. When you're done checking the tasks, that's when you move the card to that stage, which means when the card is under a stage, it means the tasks for that stage has been done. Next header, property sharing. Right, so we're not going to be adding items. Let me just put up you click on the checklist again. Next stage, inspection. Done. Next stage, negotiation stage. Done. Under each checklist stage, you begin to add the tasks, right? So under property sharing, what are the things you need to do? Say property picture shared. So you know that you're checking that list the moment the property picture is shared. Add. Next, let's say feedback requested, which means you're waiting for feedback, right? Done. Okay, so we're done fixing up all of the tasks under the checklists. So let's just run through them quickly, right? So we started with the first checklist title, which was lead qualification in corresponds with the stage. Lead qualification corresponds with the stage qualified and contacted, right? So on this card, when you create the card, when you create a client or a lead, which is putting the lead name and all, putting the lead details, right? So once you have come to the point of checking off the tasks, your transaction tasks, right? When you've made contact with the lead, right? You've discussed and you have your requirements have been discussed. You come and you check and you check, right? Once this is done, you move out, you go out of the card, then you move the card to qualified and contacted. Can you see how it's moving, right? So now, first of all, okay, so the template is created, right? What you want to do now is when you get a lead, when a call comes in, right, and someone is making an inquiry, what you do is the moment you're getting the call, Remember, you can use this on your mobile phone, you can use this on your laptop, you can be talking with the client and also creating a card for the client. You're not going to come to this add a card option. Instead, you come here, create from template. You click on create from template, right? Click edit template. I don't think that's how it's going to be on the phone. From the phone, I think you just see create card from template, right? So from here, you just click on this option. So when you click on the option, you can now edit the name. Say, okay, who's calling? Mr. Ben. Let's use to separate them. Then property type, a duplex. Mr. Ben wants a duplex in Yahi, Abuja, and his budget is 350 million, right? So just create card. Boom. Mr. Ben's card is created, right? So we go on, we click on the card to now edit more. So you put on Mr. Ben's information. Let's edit this. So we need to edit Mr. Ben's information on the description. You put in his contact information, his phone number, you put in email address, anything you want to put in, right? The budget, you put it in, which is 350 million. Property type, duplex, preferred location, yeah, here Abuja. Timeline, how soon he wants the property, so that you know how to work with that client. Then you hit save. Let me show you what are options, like I said I was going to show you, right? You didn't need to put them on the template, right? But you can add them when you're creating a card. Now, labels. Labels are colors, right, that you can use to identify your clients. Like Mr. Ben's timeline is immediately. So we can edit this to say, you can edit it and put in, say, urgent, or say hot lead. I already use my account to work on clients, so I have my labels edited already, so that's why the options are coming out for me, right? For you, I don't think it will come out like that. So that's how it is done. When you click on, when you put it up, hot leads, you save, right? So you can use more than one. Say maybe the client is at payment stage. Say you're already at the you're already at, okay, payment in progress. Let's say you're already checking your tasks off the checklist, right? So there are, these are other ways to use this label, right? So that this is why these labels are important. Now when you put these labels on the card, like so, when you close the card, the moment you come on your board, you will see the colors of the card. Now you will not need to be opening every card that you have created to know the stage for of that particular client, right? Looking at this, you know that, okay, this is a hot lead, right? Wherever he is, maybe say this client is here, right? You know that, okay, this is a hot lead and payment is in progress, right? As you hover over the color, it shows you the title or the tag of that label, right? So you don't need to be opening every card to know exactly what is going on in the card. So let's continue editing. Now, the next thing you want to know about is dates, right? Putting up dates. These are, you have dates for your start time, say start dates, right? When you want to start working with the client, right? When you people agree, right? Maybe inspection dates, any, all of those things. Once you're checking the lists for inspection, you can use these dates, right, to keep track on yourself, right? So that you can receive reminders, and you will actually say set due date reminder, right? You can set it, this is one day before, you can set it to at the time of the due date. You can set it 5 minutes before the due date. You can set it, I prefer 1 hour to the due date. You can set it a day before, so that you will know what you are looking at, right? So that's for the date, right? checklists. We'll come to that. We've already put up some checklists, so we'll come to that. Now, for members, if you have a team, right, that you're working with a team for entrepreneurs, your staff members that you will want to handle that particular client, this is where you can add them, so that as they are checking the list or as you are editing this card, they are getting the information of this client, right? So now on this attachment here, this is where you can attach you can attach links, you can attach pictures, right? You can attach files, documents, right? Anything that concerns the client, you can attach it to this place, to this particular part, so that you or your staff that's working with this client will not need to be going to search their contact list or going through the stress of searching for links and files that concerns this client. It will all be here. The moment they open up this card, they have everything that concerns the client here. So that's that for attachment. This is probably all that you will need to seamlessly work with any client, right? So now let's go down to the checklists that we have created. Now, for this lead qualification, which corresponds with the stages of your transaction, right? You begin to check off the tasks, right? When you check off, when you've made contact, you check. Requirements have been discussed, you check, right? The next thing you want to do is go out and then you take the card and you move it to qualified and contacted, right? So you know that, okay, now this is no longer a lead, this is now a qualified client, right? Now when you continue with your transaction, you go down property sharing. When you've sent the property pictures, you've requested feedback, right? The client has given you feedback, your next step has been agreed, which should be for inspection, right? You check off the next step agreed, and whatever other tasks that you need to have done. Once you are done with those tasks that concerns property picture sharing and all, you move it to the next stage, right? Now, you also keep in mind that on this part where they say comment and activities, these are where you put in the comments, right? If there are special things, maybe during your transaction, something came up, right? Like the client decided that, okay, he has an occasion to attend, right? So will not be working for the next 2 weeks, right? You can just put it there, here. Maybe the team member that this client is assigned to can just put down a comment here, say, okay, client won't be available, right? Because he's traveling, something like that. You save. Now, this is going to make both the owner of this workspace and the team member, we will know exactly what is happening with this client. When anyone that has access to this board opens this card, you know that, okay, you're seeing everything. You know how many things, you know the stage that you are, you see everything that has been checked. Now, if you're seeing the fact that, okay, why is this card not moving? You will see on the comment section that, okay, this and this and this is what is happening to this particular client at this time, right? So that's how seamless you can use this workflow system. So when you want to move, you can also use the moving option. You mustn't use the click and drag. You can click on these three buttons, click on move, right? Say this, click inspection done, then click on move. The card will move from where it was. It was on property share option shared. Now it's on inspection done, right? So you can move it with your cursor, and you can also use the options when you open the card, right? Now look at you can just look at it here and you see that, okay, there's one comment and there are checklists. You've checked 5 tasks of 17 tasks that you have to check for this client. So this is how easy it is to work with this workflow. You can also design this workflow to look more beautiful. You can change the background of the workflow. You can use photos. These are colors, and this one is just the color. You can use photos. Let's just pick this one, and then you see, boom, you have a beautiful board background, right? You can play around with this. All that you see here, you can play around with this. From these 3 dots, you can re-edit your board, right? You can edit your board and do a lot of other things on your board, right? You can change, you can, from these three boards, you can put up the labels, like you can edit all your labels, right? All the labels you want to be using, you mustn't edit them from inside the card. You can edit them from the label, from this point here. When you click on them, you just click on each one, click on the pencil button at the edge, and then you can just put a title so that you can be labeling your cards, right? So I've made a video on how to create a client database. I also created how you can collect client information with Google Form and automate it with Google Sheet, right? I'll link that video in the description, and also write in the comment section if you have more questions. Write in the comment section if it's something I'll need to make a video for. I will make a video. If it's something we'll need to talk one-on-one, I'll send you my contact details and we will talk one-on-one. So thank you so much for watching this video to the end. I'm sure you got value from this video, so give this video a thumbs up so that other people that might need the value in this video will find it. And also subscribe for more valuable videos like this, and I will see you next time. Thank you very much.